I need you to take your experience and go and lift someone else up. That's how we're going to bring hope to this country. That's how we're going to bring real change.
This Dog and Pony show is going about as we're expecting. Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David. Today we have the Liberals dropping more candidates because they criticized Justin Trudeau for one of them and a Hamas supporter for the other one. Meanwhile, Conservative candidates like Aaron Gunn are getting attacked because they told the truth. We got Pierre coming out once again with more new policies. He seems to be the only one bringing forward policies to save Canada. Mark Carney just waits 4 or 5 days, then rips off one of Pierre's policies. That's not leadership, Mark. Let's jump into this. We got this story popping off here. Carney Liberals have suddenly dropped Chris Beach from their candidate for Caribou Prince George. Beach says he was fired because he was too critical of former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Too critical of Trudeau, you're out the door. They can get rid of people for whatever reason they want. That's not a good reason, though. See, it's being carried here in the local report. We've got the post here right from Chris Beach himself. He says, I regret to let everyone know that I received an email from Liberal Party telling me I've been rejected as candidate without any explanation. After being told repeatedly he was the one and only candidate for this region, he was kicked out. He says the only plausible reason he can come up with is he was too critical of former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and current Premier David Eby in the past history as an active BC Liberal Party member and TV radio political analyst. He goes on to say he was passed by just like Christy Clark. He says this Liberal Party has a choice to make. I just wish they had been transparent, honest, and professional from day one rather than the complete opposite. He's completely blasting the Liberals here. He goes on to thank everyone. This is typical Liberals. This rotten to the core. There's a lot of people being ejected. The Conservatives don't play games. There's a lot of bad stuff found out of a candidate. They just eject them right away. We've got the Liberals here. They ejected another one. Former Alberta NDP MLA Rod Loyola has announced his intention to run as an independent candidate for Parliament in Edmonton Southeast against the Edmonton mayor. This decision comes after federal Liberals dropped him from the Edmonton Gateway race due to controversial resurfaced 2009 video. In the video, Loyola, while at an anti-NATO rally, is seen praising Hamas and Hezbollah, both which are yeah, they're bad groups in Canada. Liberals really just attract the best of the best, don't they? Hamas loyalist as a candidate. He can't be serious. That's the kind of people we have in our government. It says it was during a hip-hop segment introduction at an anti-war rally, wrote Loyola in a statement. I'm announcing that this is not the end of our campaign. I'll continue to run as an independent. So this Hamas loyalist is now running against Edmonton Sohi. Sohi himself is corrupt too. Like, Liberals have the worst of the worst. As it says here, Sohi's tenure as mayor has been marked with several controversies, including property tax hike, 6.1% just in 2025, 6.8% for 2026, $100 million bike lanes. Public opinion poll shows 25% of people want him out. 60% want a new mayor. Liberals bring in the best of the best, don't they? Jumping back over to coastal BC, Aaron Gunn still under attack. This is ridiculous. What we're seeing here, this is posted in Campbell River Rant and Rave Facebook group. For immediate release, the undersigned are elected and former elected officials call on the Conservative Party to have Aaron Gunn basically withdraw his candidacy. This is not democracy, people. You can't get a bunch of Liberal and NDP losers to sign a letter and try to strong arm a Conservative to not run. This is deplorable. If anyone wants to take a screenshot of there and send these people a message telling them what they think of this, I can't stop you. I'm not telling you to do that, but you're within your rights to do that. I think the laughing emoji here is appropriate. This is not democracy. You know what the net result of that was? Having the fake graves claim blow up in the media. 33 churches were burned. 85 Canadian churches were vandalized. If anything, it should be an outrage, an attack on Christianity in Canada. And I'm not religious. I'm not Christian. I got no horse in this race. I just call it as it is. There was nothing found. It was disturbed soil. It could have been a garden, not one skeleton. This letter even says that he said, stop lying to people. These comments are incompatible with a Canada where reconciliation is a priority. It doesn't matter. Lying is lying. There were no bodies found. There's no graves. Ground penetrating radar found disturbed soil. There's not one skeleton found. These people are ridiculous for signing this. Next up, we got Pierre coming out with another plan to help Canada. This one here is to cut bureaucratic red tape by 25% to lower prices and get homes built faster.
That's why today I'm announcing a common sense Conservative government will axe the number of regulatory requirements by 25% within 2 years, and will ensure taxpayers are saving with a 25% reduction in the administrative burden that costs them by 2027. To reverse the Liberals' red tape, we will apply a 2-for-1 rule moving forward. That means for every new regulatory requirement, the government must get rid of 2 others. This rule will also require $2 in administrative costs be reduced for every $1 that is added. And to make sure it actually happens, we're going to require by law that the Auditor General verify that the 2-for-1 rule is being followed. Listen, more and more of our jobs are leaving south because it's impossible to get anything done here in Canada. Red tape ensnares our entrepreneurs and our industry.
This is so smart. There's already actually a rule that he talks about earlier in the video that's in law, but the Liberals got around it.
They reduce the number of regulatory titles. In essence, they reduce the number of books while increasing the size of each volume. This is how you get fewer, quote, consolidated regulations while adding hundreds of pages of new rules.
Leave it to the Liberals to screw us over any which way they can. You're the best, Pierre. Nobody can deny how dialed in you are. Yeah, he's on it. Every single thing here is going to be better for Canada. We've got quite a powerful clip here of Pierre Poilievre. So he came out with a video talking about he's going to get rid of the street candy, deal with that problem. I'm not going to play the video because it's too many words for me to bleep out. So you can find it on Pierre's page, but we have Jasmine posting this one here. She's saying, not Pierre Poilievre bringing me to tears with today's announcement. Everyone knows that I lost someone to this S word here, or overdose, is voting Conservative.
And in fact, I would say they have a superpower now, a superpower that almost no one has, because they've been to the bottom of the valley and they've climbed up to the mountaintop. And they now can inspire others to do the same. Every single person, every single one of you who's recovered, do not look at that past as a weakness. Look at it as a superpower. I need all of you. I need you to take your experience and go and lift someone else up. Grab that next person who's on a street corner, pull them up, and take them to care and break their addiction, to turn their lives around. That's how we're going to bring hope to this country. That's how we're going to bring real change. Thank you very much.
This is my prime minister right here. Mark Carney is not inspiring anyone like Pierre is. Well, I've never gone down the route of the street candy. I was definitely in the bottom of the barrel before I started coming on here and running my mouth and having all of you lift me up. I'm grateful for all the support. And I should acknowledge all the huge donations people keep dropping, super chats, the super thanks. I'm so busy producing videos. I go back and check after a week or so, and there's just $100 donations, $50 donations. It's absolutely insane. So I'm trying my best here to push it all out, drop the straight facts, real news, what's honest, what's actually going on in Canada to help get our country back. I'm incredibly grateful for all of you lifting me up to be that voice for all of you, the voice that the mainstream media has taken away from us. I know Jasmine has a similar story. We're going to bring Canada back. Most important political announcement. Yeah, this is huge. This is big. Let's vote Conservative and fix this country. Stop the street candy. It takes too many lives. So in Pierre's video, he announces, I believe it was 50,000 people. It's more people have perished from the street candy, the Liberal NDP program they rolled out, which funnels across Canada. Its origin is in BC, where they have the safe supply, not safe. More people have perished from that than WW2. It's absolutely crazy. And my grandfather fought in WW2. He was actually captured because he was half Russian, half German. He escaped. He's running from guys with pew-pews, big, that kind of thing on the beach. Was able to escape, move to Canada, move to Manitoba, start a farm. Our grandfathers literally fought for the freedom in our country, and now the Liberals are trying to take that away. It is absolutely pivotal that we win this election. Pierre fights for recovery, not handouts. Vote Conservative. I teared up too. I thought Pierre was about to also. That was a powerful speech he gave, totally from the heart. Next up, we got Brandon posting this one. It says, let me get this straight. At the time that Mark Carney was advising the government to raise taxes on Canadians, Justin Trudeau's advisor, he was dodging taxes in Bermuda. So as he says here, this begs the question, is he refusing to disclose his assets and holdings because he still benefits from tax havens to this day? That is the question. Is Mark Carney benefiting from not telling us what assets he has?
The issue of corporate tax evasion continues to follow Liberal leader Mark Carney on his campaign. Today, the NDP is alleging that Brookfield Asset Management avoided paying billions in taxes during the time Carney sat on the board. CTV's Judy Trin is traveling with the Liberals. What's his response to the allegations, Judy?
Heather, Mark Carney continues to sidestep questions about his past job at Brookfield Asset Management and the use of tax havens. While in Montreal, Mark Carney was asked if it was ethical for Brookfield Asset Management, where he sat on the board, to use tax havens.
First off, I'm no longer at Brookfield. Secondly, this follows.
So first up, this notion of I'm not at Brookfield anymore. So it doesn't matter. It's in the past. So anyone who's committed a crime, how about SDTC documents, $400 million stolen from taxpayers? It's in the past. Doesn't matter. Bank robber robbed a bank yesterday. It's in the past. Doesn't matter. This doesn't hold water, Mark. If someone has done things that are illegal, if someone has done things that are unethical, like dodging taxes, tax evasion, it needs to be brought up. It still can bite you in the butt. It is still relevant. You don't get to dodge this whole situation because you dodge taxes. You're Canada's #1 top tax evader.
Country.
Carney resigned from Brookfield's board in mid-January to run as leader of the Liberals. Before that, he was head of impact investment for Brookfield, managing 2 green funds worth about $25 billion. CTV News reported that several entities of Brookfield's core business was registered to an address in Bermuda that also houses a bike shop.
So something to note about that, it's on the 5th floor and people are confused about it, but if you look back here, there is 5 floors. You can only see 3 from the front. So 3, 4th floor, 5th floor. So it's back here.
This is a bike shop.
Mark Carney, while he was the chair of this company, 4 out of 5 of their businesses were located above a bicycle shop in a small office in Bermuda. It almost sounds ridiculous when I say it out loud.
Referring to public documents, Singh says Brookfield, during Carney's tenure, avoided paying more than $5 billion in taxes.
$5.3 billion. What does that mean? Well, that's 50,000 nurses that could have been hired. That's streetcars, that's buses, that's public infrastructure, not only for the federal government, also for the provincial government.
For years, the Liberal Party has promised to make corporations pay their fair share. Carney said his global banking experience will help him find solutions.
I understand how the world works and the structure works.
But when asked,
that's the dangerous part. He knows how the world works because he is a smart banker. He will make it work for himself, not for Canada. That's why he won't disclose his financial assets. Otherwise, he would. Pierre came out and disclosed all of his financial assets and sold them all. This should be throwing out massive red flags to every Canadian in Canada. I don't know why our population is so brainwashed. The guy's a banker working for himself.
When the Liberals will release policy to tighten corporate loopholes, Carney did not provide a timeline.
It's absolutely a priority of my government. If we are re-elected, it would be a priority of our government to ensure that our companies are paying their fair share of taxes.
Well,
Our companies will be paying their fair share of taxes, except when he's the chair of one of the largest in Canada. Then that company won't pay its fair share of taxes because he's a scumbag.
Conservative leader Pierre has also criticized Carney's actions at Brookfield. The Conservatives, like the Liberals, have not put forward a policy on how to tighten loopholes related to tax havens. Heather.
CTV's Judy Trin reporting. Thank you.
They have to throw that little bit in there. Just get one little jab on the Conservatives on the end. You know how psychology works with things. People remember the first thing and the last thing, and the middle stuff kind of gets muddy and washed out. Was that strategic to throw that jab in the Conservatives because they haven't put out their policy yet? They showed a clip of Jagmeet complaining about it. They didn't say anything about Jagmeet putting out a policy of the Green Party. Ever since CTV announced they're going to bring on their fact checker and then cancel the whole thing, is that credibility is zero. Do you think it's Mark's advice that told Justin the budget would balance itself? No doubt in my mind Brookfield is still paying him. Who knows? Next up, we got this one here on Oil Exec's count. This morning, 3,500 people were laid off as Mark Carney danced in an auto warehouse nearby to AC/DC's Thunderstruck.
Seeing that Stellantis is putting over 3,500 people on layoff for 2 weeks starting on Monday. And that's going to cascade through the parts sector. That is going to cascade through auto plants and parts sector in the United States and all the way down to Mexico. And this is just the start of what you're going to see happen. What was predicted to happen from the very beginning, that you would see these closures happen almost immediately in the auto industry and the parts sector.
When we talked to James Stewart, I believe he's the president of Local 444, Unifor, the other day, he told my colleague Rosemary Barton that there's a layoff factor of 8 when these jobs go, like the ripple through the supply chains. Is that all largely in your area, or is that spread throughout North America? When the 3,000 that go down, another 20,000 could go with them?
Yeah, that impact factor is huge, and it's in the community, which is why we all want to see auto plants and auto production in our communities, because the spinoff is so dramatic. for these well-paying jobs. And so you will see this, again, cascade through the parts sector because you don't need people making parts for cars that aren't being made. And ultimately, it will cascade all the way down to the Tim Hortons with the person pouring coffee, because those auto workers are going to make their own coffee at home in the morning. Everyone's saving money, pinching pennies, waiting for this rainy day. The rain has started falling. They're just hopeful that the umbrella pops up and, someone makes a smart, sensible decision to turn the tap off and stop the rain sooner rather than later.
Okay, I don't want to be grim, but by the end of these 2 weeks, I mean, we hope the plant comes back online, but we don't know, given everything that's happening. I mean, what are you bracing for in terms of job loss just in Windsor over these 2 weeks of the shutdown?
Well, I think the original projection was that you could see 30% unemployment in the course, in a very short course of time. And so that would basically double what we saw in the height of the Great Recession, where we had almost 16% unemployment. When Chrysler went bankrupt, needed saving by the federal and provincial government, we had folks flying to Alberta for work. And so it's more dramatic than that. And certainly if it has a global impact, I think we're not quite sure where the bottom would be on this front just yet.
Careful who you vote for. That's what we're getting from that. This is not good for Canada at all. This ripple effect is massive. Here's a clip they're talking about. Mark Carney is right here with AC/DC. So I can't have that song on there too much, but yeah. I guess that was his warm-up song for hockey. Look at him. He's having a big, cheeky smile. I don't think this is really the time to have a big smile, and 3,500 jobs just disappeared. We got Mark Miller retweeting Jonathan Wilkinson. This is just ridiculous. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but you can see here he goes on to talk about Canada's blessed with natural resources, critical minerals, natural gas, etc. Canada has played an important role several decades. Pierre Poilievre will take us back to a time when nothing could get built in this country. I'm sorry, you guys put in the emissions cap. You guys are the ones who came out and said you're not going to build any more roads. You guys are the ones who don't want to build pipelines, don't want to have any mines, don't want to do anything in our country except net zero agenda. These guys were all the eco-green zealots who pushed all these electric vehicles, invested all of our money in these EV car companies, battery companies, and they all flopped or moved back to America. And now we're seeing ridiculousness like this, where you got Cybertrucks getting spray painted in Montreal and stuff like this, where you have these people spraying paint all over Tesla dealerships. You can't make up this level of stupid. And he has the audacity to come out here and say Pierre Poilievre is the one who's going to hold back anything getting built in Canada. It's preposterous. Next up, we got Barbara Ball here coming out with a powerful video showing she's a real resident for Nepean, where Mark Carney parachuted last minute, kicked out Chandra Arya, and like, oh, I'm a local, right? Yeah, you guys believe it, right?
I'm Barbara Ball, and I am proud to be running as your federal Conservative candidate in Nepean. This is my home. I've lived here for 25 years, raised my family here, and spent my career serving my country and this community. First in the Canadian Armed Forces Reserve, and for the past 28 years in law enforcement. I've seen firsthand how the failed policies of Liberals have hurt Canadians, and I'm ready to represent you. I am the local candidate. My journey is the same as that of my fellow residents of Nepean.
How do you compare the two? She was in the military, a police officer, she lives there, versus Mark Carney is a central banker elitist who is living in New York, shows up, kicks out the Liberal who had been there for the last 10 years. You can't make this stuff up.
I grew up on a dairy farm in southern Ontario, the oldest of 10 children of hardworking immigrant parents. My father worked long hours while my mother raised us at home. We didn't have fancy European vacations, but we had something far more valuable, the Canadian promise. Back then, with hard work and diligence, you could afford good food, gas, a home in a safe neighborhood, and a nation to be proud of. Unlike my opponent, I have never started at the top. Like most Nepean residents, I worked my way up through hard work, perseverance, and service to my community and country. My opponent, however, was parachuted in and expects your vote. I've earned my place here by living, working, and raising my family in this community. My husband and I raised our 3 teenage children in Nepean. This great country has given us everything, but after a lost decade of Liberal failures, inflation is out of control. Gas prices are crushing families, crime is skyrocketing, and people cannot afford homes anymore. The Liberals have put big government, criminals, and special interests first, not you. Pierre Poilievre's vision for Canada focuses on putting hard-work Canadians first. Lower taxes, more jobs, a safer street, and a better economy. I share that vision, and I'm ready to bring it home to Nepean. This election, you have a choice that will make history, not only for Nepean, but for our country. Will you vote for someone who has never lived here and takes your vote for granted? Or for someone who spent their entire lifetime working hard, raising a family, and serving this community and our country? I am from this community and for this community, and I will fight for you and the next generation. Let's put Canada and Nepean first for a change.
That's a great campaign ad. It really is good. As Mario says here, yeah, that fire, straight fire. We take a step back from the whole federal race and just look at Mark Carney's race against Barbara Ball. How would anyone in their right mind who lives in Nepean vote for a globalist, elitist Mark Carney, WF, net zero guy who hasn't lived in Canada for the past 10 years? He hasn't even lived in Canada for really much of his adult life. Shows up, says he's going to run there. He kicks out Chandra Arya, the guy who's been there, the liberal who's been there for 10 years. Why in the world would someone even consider voting for a corporate tax evader versus a former police officer and military veteran?